Alright, what's up guys? So, Rebound has uploaded a video titled Most Embarrassing Moments in NBA History. LeBron James, Paul Pierce, J.R. Smith. Yeah, I feel like the J.R. Smith, you know he's going to be on his list. After that finals a few years back, that was, honestly, that's like my all-time favorite J.R. Smith moment. I mean, you know, I think there was like a fight moment that I thought it was pretty funny what he was doing. But nah, that finals where his hands was like this. And he was all like, hold on, wait a second. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That is one of my all-time favorite basketball moments. But anyways, I think I know what this is. Because I think both these guys, they end up running into each other. Because I was like, how y'all do that? But nah, let's go ahead and get into this video. Guys, if you haven't, make sure you go subscribe to Rebound. They are very, very extremely close to reaching 1 million subscribers. So make it happen, guys. Go subscribe to him. But anyways,
now throughout NBA history, there's been plenty of embarrassing moments big name players want you to forget.
That was like, yeah, I seen when that head went down with LeBron James. I'm like, bro, you just gotta go bald, man. It's all right if you go bald. Like,
now with the Boston Celtics continuing to trend to this day, one of their all-time greats of recent decades, Paul Pierce, not only helped stamp the team as one of the best in the early 2000s, but he also had an embarrassing moment that's probably gonna last forever. During Game 1 of the 2008 NBA Finals against the Lakers, Paul appeared to be hurt under the basket. He was eventually helped off the court by his teammates, leading him to the back, where he was eventually wheelchaired out. Many thought because of all this effort being taken, the injury was pretty serious. The look on Paul's face after this apparent injury and instant aid from medical staff and teammates made it look like an emergency.
And what's crazy, it's like, okay, so if you pay attention, they were like carrying him where he's holding his leg at. You would think like, look, I don't want nobody touching that leg. Like, do not touch it, because that leg, straight pain. Touch it, I'm gonna die. So, and they're carrying him, and that's like, yeah, bro, you should have thought that one through
situation. But not long after leaving what seemed like a season-ending injury, Paul got an ovation from the Boston crowd as he came sprinting back out and helped lead the Celtics to a 98-88 win. Many insiders over the last decade believe that there was a part of the story missing because the severity of the injury combined with him running back out just didn't add up. And this year on ESPN, right before Game 3 of the 2019 NBA Finals, it was the 11-year anniversary of that specific wheelchair game, and when it was brought up, Paul Pierce said, "I have a confession to make. I just had to go to the bathroom." Now when Chauncey Billups asked why he needed a wheelchair for the bathroom, Paul said, "Something went down. I had to clean up. Enough said." Paul Pierce dookied on himself, dude. After the guys clown on him,
it's like for him to come for. I had just taken that to my grave. I wouldn't have told nobody that I had to. And there has been times where I'm like, look, I'm like, you know, I've been out and I'm just like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and you know, it's stuff where it's like in a situation like this, you just gotta take it to your grave. Like, you know, because I'm like, yeah, you put on this big show for me. I'm like, I'm just gonna come out and just say, hey, look, I gotta go to the bathroom. So, you know, like, but anyways, other than that, like, that's crazy. That's very, very crazy and stuff. I'm like, man, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's like, you know, that's what it was. But anyways, yeah, that's probably why they were carrying him by his, because he's just like, look. He had his like head like this. He's all like, look, lift my legs up, because he was like, if I walk out of here, a bunch of stuff is gonna drip out that people don't need to see, and then that would be more embarrassing than, you know. So I guess it's good that he did do it like that. But yeah, it'd been even more embarrassing if he had stood up and then all of a sudden you just see all this like a layer of brownness going over his already brown. Like, man, that had just been disgusting. Bro. If I had been in, I'm like, nah, bro, I gotta leave this game.
For a bit, and the millions of people watching the finals had seen Pierce admit his confession, Pierce tweeted out and said, "Sorry to bust y'all haters' bubbles, but the only pooping I did July 5th, 2008 was on the Lakers. Hashtag facts, hashtag haters gonna hate." Now, to no one's surprise, J.R. Smith makes this list, as he's constantly done questionable things throughout his career, and these embarrassing moments definitely play a factor as to why he's not on an NBA team today. Back in 2014, when J.R. still played for the Knicks, there was a time when he became one of the league trolls. J.R. went as far as beginning to troll players on the other team by untying their shoes when a teammate of theirs was shooting free throws. J.R.'s first successful attempt was when the Knicks played the Mavericks, and J.R. untied Sean Marion's shoe during a free throw by Dirk Nowitzki. This wasn't specifically against the rules, but J.R. is a one of a kind, so of course he's going to be the one to do this. Now, the NBA warned Smith not to do that anymore, but just 3 days later in a game against the Pistons, J.R. decided to try and untie Greg Monroe's shoe, but came up unsuccessful when Greg realized what he was doing. A lot of people publicly criticized Smith for doing this, as it really made no sense at all. He obviously wasn't going to get away with it, and shortly after the second incident, Smith was fined a ridiculous $50,000 for untying shoes.
Wow.
Knicks coach at the time, Mike Woodson, spoke about his player and the whole untying shoes deal when he said, "I've always said I don't condone things that I know you shouldn't do. No, I'm not happy about this. He was warned. He comes back and he makes the same mistake. It's not right. I just got the information. I'm going to address it Thursday when he comes in here for work." It's unacceptable. It really is. It's unprofessional. That's the only word I could use. You can't do that. You just cannot do that. At the end of the day, he's got to grow up. These things have got to stop. Now, J.R. Smith addressed the issue on Twitter saying, "Huge apologies to my team, to the league, and most of all, you the fans." J.R. sat down with an interview with the Bleacher Report where they discussed many topics, and one question asked was if he cares about the fines, and he said, "I do care about the fines because it's a loss of money, but other than that, I like to have fun. I would do the shoelace thing again if there wasn't a fine, but now that I'm in my 10th year in the NBA, I take the game more seriously than I did when I was in my first 5 or 6. Now, if you know J.R. Smith, it also comes as no surprise that he kept up his ridiculous antics throughout his entire career. Early in the 2016 season, J.R. and the Cavaliers were playing an away game against the Bucks, and with J.R. Smith in the game, he was supposed to play defense, but instead saw no friend on the opposing team and decided to dap him up. During that second quarter with the Cavaliers down 51-50, no friend on the opposing team and decided to with J.R. Smith in the game, he was supposed to play defense, but instead saw no friend on the opposing team and decided to dap him up. During that second quarter with the Cavaliers down 51-50, J.R. walked over to Jason Terry, and as he distracted him, it shook up the entire Cavaliers team, and J.R.'s guy to defend was left wide open for a dunk. The team was immediately confused. Now, although J.R.'s defense wasn't the reason the Bucks won 118-101, after the game, J.R. spoke with reporters who obviously asked him about the situation, and he said, "I don't even remember that. My bad. I didn't even know I was in the game."
Everybody says things like that. Well, it's like when you done did something embarrassing, they were like, "Bro, I don't remember doing that." Like, that's honestly, that's where your go-to. Like me, I'm just all like, "Yeah, I did that. My fault." But yeah, they people say that when they don't want to admit they fault.
Cavaliers coach Ty Lue also spoke about JR's embarrassing moment when he said, "It was an embarrassing moment. Me and JR talked about it. We're just gonna move forward. We had a discussion about it. He felt embarrassed about it. It was an embarrassing play. We talked about it and we're moving on." JR eventually gave a real answer surrounding the situation after a big deal was made because of him apparently forgetting he was in the game. But Smith eventually said, "I said it more in a joking manner because you could see what happened. Obviously I wasn't paying attention. For me to just sit there and tell you I wasn't paying attention makes it plain and boring somewhat, especially when you're asking a question you already know the answers. But at the same time, I still have to give that boring answer for whatever reason." Now, the embarrassing moments for J.R. Smith, as you could have guessed, don't stop there. What's gone down as the worst mistake made by an NBA player came during the 2018 NBA Finals, in which the one and only legend himself, J.R. Smith, was involved. At the time, the Cavaliers were looking to make an instant impact on the series by taking down the Warriors in Oregon. Many were already counting Cleveland out because Golden State had Kevin Durant, but LeBron James had something else to say about it. LeBron was having arguably the game of his career, pretty much making any type of shot he took, and was shining with 49 points as the fourth quarter was coming to an end. With just a few seconds left, he dished the ball to George Hill, where he was fouled and sent to the free throw line. With the score being 106-107, the Cavaliers looked to secure the lead back as George knocked down the first and tied the game. With pressure at an all-time high and all eyes watching, Hill misses the second free throw, and that's where J.R. Smith grabs an offensive rebound. Instead of going back up for a shot or finding an open...
Look at everybody's face. This situation will never not be funny to me because he is the only one that is determined. Green, everybody green. Both them greens, Durant, Curry, Thompson, Looney, they're all looking like, bro, where is he going? Like, bro, what did you think you were doing?
Open teammate, he ran out thinking they were ahead and dribbled out the clock with a furious LeBron James in disbelief. As time expired, nobody could believe what they had just seen, and many felt like this was the exact moment LeBron decided it was time to head to LA. And we didn't see him talking to anybody on the bench. Now, of course, heading into overtime, the team was stunned. They lost all the momentum of the game, and the Warriors cruised to a 124-114 victory in OT. After the conclusion of the game, Cavs coach Ty Lue told a reporter about JR saying he thought it was over. He thought that we were up one. And J.R. Smith gave many answers about it, some saying that he thought they were up, some saying that he didn't know, and so during LeBron's post-game press conference, a reporter asked him if J.R. thought they were up one. LeBron said, "How do I know that?" And then the reporter asked if he discussed anything with J.R., and LeBron said no. They asked me if I talked to J.R. about it. I said no already. I knew it was a time game. We were down one. George Hill went up. He made the first one. We got the offensive rebound. You know, I thought we were all aware of what was going on. That's my view. I don't know what J.R. was thinking. I don't know what question you're trying to ask me. The reporters continued to ask LeBron about this until he just pretty much walked out of the interview. It was Stevenson later reported that LeBron broke his hand after Game 1 in the locker room punching a blackboard, which is why he didn't have patience with the media asking him nonsense that he wouldn't know the answer to. But to this day, many still feel like this J.R. Smith moment combined with everything else he's been doing throughout his career is why he may never play for another team again. Now, it's no doubt the Warriors themselves have kind of become an embarrassment this year after Kevin Durant got injured in the finals.
It's like there's like a few, I don't know, there's just a few things that they named off. Maybe there's more, I don't know. But I'm like, yeah, it's like, can't deny the fact that the man's, he's a good player. So
eventually left for Brooklyn. Obviously, Klay Thompson got hurt in the same series, and at the very beginning of the new year, Steph Curry also got injured, sending Golden State instantly to the bottom of the league. Now, despite a one-of-a-kind player like Steph suffering many injuries during his career, he hasn't really had many embarrassing moments, but there's one that he'd like to forget that came last season. On January 2019, in a game against the Lakers, Curry had an embarrassing moment when he was going up for a dunk that he never attempted before. Late in the third quarter, with the Warriors up 107-71, Curry stole a pass from Kyle Kuzma and had a wide-open fast break, and as he was about to elevate, he slipped under the rim and lost the ball. Somehow, teammate at the time, Andre Iguodala, recovered the loose ball and gave it right back to Steph as he was wide open for a corner three. On any other given night, this is a shot that Steph would love to take, but unfortunately, he made the situation even worse this time by airballing it. After the game, Curry spoke to reporters about his slip-up and said, "I have no idea. A kid walked into a candy store with the whole half court empty. I was gonna try something real nice I hadn't tried before. The Lord wouldn't let me do it." Warriors coach Steve Kerr also spoke about the slip, saying, "You think Steph was lining up for a monster dunk? Have you seen Steph's dunks? I thought it was gonna be one of those layups where he just pulls the net down a little bit to make it seem like he's on the rim. He's done a lot of those over the years. That was a tough moment for Steph. He's had a pretty good run so far in the NBA. It's gonna happen at some point. We all have our embarrassing moments in this league if you play long enough." Now, despite
I'm like, at that, I couldn't even be mad if I was a coach and that happened to one of my players. I felt sorry for him because I've been like, dang, bro. That's why you just gotta sit back and just be like, dang. I thought he was gonna make it, and it's, but I guess if he's just not known for doing them dunks, then he's just not known for it. But I'm like, dang. Yeah, that would be embarrassing. I've been like, nah, bro, I'm done. I ain't playing no more for the rest of the game.
Stevenson no longer being in the NBA, the effect that he's had on the league with his ridiculous antics will live on forever. You could argue that a moment back in 2013 is what made him so famous across social media during a critical playoff series. At the time, Lance was with the Indiana Pacers, and they were going up against the stacked Miami Heat team. It was the Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron and Lance were going at it all series, causing headlines. And ironically enough, Paul George was the star of Indiana at that time, but many were paying attention to Lance Stevenson. The main takeaway from this series was when Lance and LeBron both had their hands on their knees, and Lance started blowing into LeBron's ear during Game 5. This was something that many people questioned, as it was just a ridiculous way of trying to affect arguably the best player in the world at that time, and it continued to be a meme over 6 years later. However, back in 2018, Lance sat down for an interview with The Score where he explained why he blew into LeBron's ear back in the day. Stevenson said, "I don't regret it, but sometimes I look at it like, why did I do that? What made me do that? I was really trying to get him mad, really trying to win the game, trying to get him unfocused. I was trying anything. For you to do something to somebody and they don't respond, they just keep continuing and playing hard, and it's like, yo, how do I get in this guy's head?" I was just trying to find stuff. It's actually funny that
you have to think though, how does that get in? If somebody were to do that to me, I'm like, okay, I want to stay as far as away from that person as I possibly can. So while they on this side, I'll be on this side doing my thing. But yeah, it's like, I don't think that will get, I think that person would think that you weird, and they're going to be like, I don't want to, even if this, and he did play for the Lakers for a little bit, and it's like, I just been like, look, bro, I'm like, you just stay over there doing your weird stuff. I'm just going to stay over here and do my thing. If somehow our paths cross, let's just win the game. That's it. So, anyway.
Same team. I'm very excited to see what that brings just playing with him. One of the best players in the game. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to get on board. After Lance was dealt to the Lakers, the two of him and LeBron settled their differences and played together for a year, but they never really talked about the situation that made the duo so popular back in 2013. Now, with LeBron James playing this year, he's become one of the longest tenured players in the NBA today, as well as one of the oldest, as he's turning 35 in late December. Now, despite his age, LeBron's game hasn't had many flaws over the years. He's still argued as a top player in the league each season, but a pretty ridiculous and embarrassing situation came recently. Over the last few seasons, many have felt that LeBron should just pull a Kobe and just go bald, just shave it off. His hair has been spotted having issues time and time again. At the beginning of the 2019 season, LeBron apparently had hair plugs and other hair surgeries to repair his lost hair, and in late October, during a game between the Lakers and the Jazz at Staples Center, his hair started to fall out mid-game underneath the headband. Late in the game, while the Lakers were shooting free throws, you could see Anthony Davis yell something to LeBron from the bench, and then eventually pointed to his head, trying to get LeBron to notice without making a scene. But everyone saw and everyone Everyone knew what this was about immediately. As LeBron got the hint and tried to fix the hair, the camera zoomed right up on his head with his hair looking completely messed up. Over the years, many have questioned what was going on with LeBron's head as it's continued to change since his high school days. But recently, his barber weighed in on LeBron's current hairline situation and said, there's no hair dye, there's no additives, no preservatives. Everyone thinks he's dyeing his hair, using temporary hair colorings, Big or black ice. It's all his hair. They still don't believe me. I get Big comments all the time. I've become numb to it. It used to bother me. It's not that easy to hear. LeBron is very tedious about his own haircut. The beard is the #1 thing. He leaves the top up to me. I leave him a little less bald. He's my guy. He's my hardest haircut. He has good hair. You just have to cut it right. He has a few fat patches around the chin that you have to take your time with. You have to have patience. It usually takes about 50 minutes. Yo, bro, listen up. The reason LeBron's hairline actually crumbled off is because he didn't click on this video right here on the screen. That's right, bro. You gotta click on this video. It's a weird thing that happens, bro. I don't get it. I just know that I'm not trying to have my hair crumble off my face. So
LeBron James got a whole afro.
Click on it.
If there's ever a day where LeBron got an afro, I'm like, bruh, I wouldn't even know how to take that. I'm like, I don't know. Because it's like, I mean, look at this photo. It's like you got freaking Kobe with a kid and play fade. Like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to react to that. LeBron, any bald bastard, because what, there's like when Shaq, when he brought his hairline back, I was like, bro, got a faded, I didn't know, it's like, that's a ghost. That's a ghost one. Like, you know how like a one all over it? That was a ghost. That was a ghost, bro. I'm like, I didn't know what that was. But anyways, this is a pretty good video. Shout out to Rebound. Make sure if you guys haven't, go subscribe to him for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.